How's everybody doing today? So, when you're doing meditation and you are trying to find out the reason or the cause of past childhood trauma, because a lot of times you don't even remember what it was, but it was instilled in the subconscious mind, and it was some post-traumatic stress that you don't remember because you were so young, but your body, your mind, and your spirit do remember what it was, because all that information is stored in the subconscious mind. When you're meditating, you want to allow yourself and the universe to give you that information of what may have caused that past trauma. What was the source of it? And when it comes up, you may get some sort of enlightenment on what that was, and from there you can deal with it. Because if you don't even know what it was, you can't really address it responsibly. And a lot of times when you're children, it's not your fault. Situations that your parents put you in, and maybe it had to do with your parents or brothers and sisters or bullies or whatever the case may be. Could be family, could be friends, whatever the case may be. You'll go back and you'll remember it. The meditation will randomly access that memory for you to let it go, or attach a positive emotion to it instead of a negative. Because you could, doing that is actually, remember I told you can time travel and change the past. You can actually alter that state that your body and mind were felt like back then to change you now. I don't know how it works exactly, but just pretend it's like time travel. You go back in the past, alter something, and then land up today, right now, changed from what you did in your meditation. Or the meditation will just whatever that attachment is, it'll just let it go from here on out. Maybe not have changed the past, depending on how you did the meditation. And from here on out, you don't have that post-traumatic stress. So now you can approach things with a different energy dynamic, basically. This childhood trauma is 90 to 99% of adults' problems is childhood trauma. The experiences you had when you were a child instilled for the rest of your life, and then you grew and made yourself who you are based on your experiences as children. That's why it's imperative, you as parents, to give your children a good, loving, fun, raw experience, because that will put them in a positive state instead of negative when they get older. If the parents weren't there, maybe you had single parents. Maybe your mom or maybe your dad raised you. You didn't know one of your parents, or maybe your grandparents raised you, or a foster family. You got to provide that good experience for the children as best as you can. The way you can do that is first changing yourself, because if you're on a spiritual journey, you will realize you have some sort of childhood trauma. Almost everybody does, but it just depends on the level of it, right? A lot of times, if you're on a spiritual journey or having spiritual experiences or awakenings, you are a person that had childhood trauma. A lot of people that land up in spiritual journeys are people that had some bad experience when they were children. And like I said, I don't like the term chosen ones, but a lot of times that's the case. I've met metaphysical people that my childhood really wasn't that bad, but I had a couple bad experiences. But I met some other people that had really bad experiences, and they were the most spiritual people I've ever met in my life. They had no judgment, the most loving. They were giving love unconditionally to everybody, and I'm working on that myself now. We all are. I'm just saying, you chose this spiritual journey and a experience before you were born to have these experiences and then to wake up even more. Since we are being recycled due to great many reasons, finding yourself again is part of that experience. And in order to do that, sometimes you have to experience like bad things in order to become spiritual. And it may not have been your fault, but you can change it now. Like I said before, a lot of times some people that that may seem vain, or just like they grew up like rich and their parents treated them great, and they're completely naive to like spirituality because they had no reason to seek something a lot of times, because they were provided the life they were supposed to be provided for. So they may not be seeking spirituality, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad people, because if they were being loved their entire life, they're probably giving out love too. So they're just in a positive vibration state because they were trained to do that. But it may seem odd to maybe you or I how they act, because it's like, do you even know what the suffering of what other people? Do you even know how other people suffer? Because you're in this bubble that you don't even realize that there's trauma in life. You go down to the ghetto, and you'll see some trauma. People that grew up in a bad neighborhood or whatever. You're going to see some trauma there, and people have had those experiences before. Just because you haven't doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So yeah, just know that, and then once again, that's why I said give your children a great experience, because they'll be vibrating in a state where they're giving love, and they're not like really receiving too many bad energies coming to them, because their normal state is positivity. If that's what you want to call it, they're vibrating at a frequency where they're just like flowing. The flow state happens at certain frequencies. And the further you get up that chart or that graph, so to speak, not to put a label on it, but like to go up that graph or the higher frequency, you're like flowing at a light speed pace, and it's like you're almost untouchable. And that's like kind of like what your goal is, really. So during your meditation, you want to stay calm. Try to like retrospect what happened prior, and when it comes up, cry or get mad or whatever emotion comes up for you, and let it go, because your emotions will come back up when you find out what it is. Matter of fact, it'll be like daunting how emotionally charged you'll be in that bad emotion that happened, because you realize what it was, and it's like you woke up all of a sudden. It's like a micro. Honestly, it's a micro spiritual awakening when you access that memory, and then when you let it go, and then you have an understanding of what it was. Now you can be good to yourself and others, because you realize what it was occurred, and now you can make the change. And that's all I basically wanted to talk about. If you have any more questions, type in the comments. Email me at realitysimulator@gmail.com. As always, I greatly appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for more. Thank you.